how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new horror movie, and that is Frankenstein. This is the new one that came out on Netflix, November 7th, 2025 for Netflix, although if you wanted to see it on the big screen, you could catch it early on October 17th. This movie is of course directed by Guillermo Del Toro, who's done a lot of cool classic stuff like Hellboy and The Shape of Water. The movie stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz, and is of course based on the novel by Mary Shelley. And overall, this is one that had a fair bit of hype around it. Guillermo del Toro, for like his whole career, has been saying he wanted to do a Frankenstein movie, and now at long last he's finally gotten his chance to do that, and that's super great for him to be able to achieve his dream. The movie itself is very well made. The acting is obviously top notch, but of course for Del Toro, the set design and the way it's photographed is all done very, very well. I mean, like, the laboratory set in this one is really cool. It's not just a little windmill, it's this big, giant Gothic tower. Lots of really good, sweeping Gothic sets in this. And then, like, when he's building the creature, he's got these big, glowing red tubes around it, and the creature's propped up in the middle. Some weird, big, glowing red crystal thing on its chest. The movie is super, super impressive, especially the classic Gothic Del Toro over-the-top stuff, the stuff that we all know and love and why we show up to these movies. It does what it does well, really, really well. And I mean, I don't want to complain too much, right? At the end of the day, it knows what its job is and it does its job. This is a very well-crafted Frankenstein movie, and in general I did like it. If you know Del Toro's style, you know what to expect. This is Del Toro doing Frankenstein. But that also kind of leads into this film's weakness. If you know Del Toro's style and you know the classic story of Frankenstein, you basically know what to expect here. And that's kind of the thing, is it's not a bad movie, but it's a very expected movie. You know, it's a movie that gives you exactly what it says, and I mean, props for doing that, but it never really surprised me, and I really wish it did. And I think a good example to illustrate this is Del Toro actually did another classic monsters movie. He did The Shape of Water, which was an obvious play on the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I loved The Shape of Water way more than I did his Frankenstein movie, and there are 3 clear reasons for that. 1, the story was incredibly original and different. 2, the characters were much more relatable, and 3, the pacing and runtime was a lot more manageable, and let's dive into all those things. As far as the adaptation goes, this is a fairly straightforward adaptation of Frankenstein. As I said just a second ago, the thing with The Shape of Water is it was an original take on the creature from the Black Lagoon. What if the girl and the creature actually did wind up together, and the whole story about escaping from a government lab was brand new as well? The Shape of Water was a interesting and new and different idea. Here, if you know Frankenstein, you know Frankenstein. And the thing is, it's not a 100% book accurate version, and I have to say, if it was 100% book accurate, then you'd be like, okay, at least they're doing that, at least they're doing a 100% proper adaptation. But no, they do change stuff, and it's weird because they change the footsteps, but they still go along essentially the same path. And the things they change aren't necessarily like the best things ever. I mean, they do this thing where the creature literally can't die, like that's his superpower, and at times Frankenstein feels more like Wolverine, and in an era of superhero fatigue, maybe this wasn't the best choice. They also do a thing where, like, before he builds the creature, Frankenstein does a few, like, test runs, a few, like, prototypes, and we do get some cool visuals out of the prototypes, but it also serves to lessen the impact of when the creature finally does come to life. And then there's this whole thing of like, oh, when the creature's young, it could only say the word Victor. What does it mean that it only says its master's name? And I'm like, That's not enough. Like, I wish this movie had done what Shape of Water did. I really wish it had told something more unique and different. Do that, or do the 100% faithful book adaptation, but as it stands now, it changed a little, but not really enough, and the movie itself is very, very expected. The second point with the characters. In Shape of Water, the characters were like janitors in this big facility with scientists. They were kind of like outcast characters trying to fight this bigger force. But the characters in Shape of Water seemed very human and very relatable, and I really did like that. The characters in Frankenstein talk about those grand, dramatic things, and they get so caught up in like advanced scientific theory. And sure, from time to time they'll say something interesting, like an interesting science fiction concept you hadn't thought of before, but at the end of the day they don't necessarily feel super relatable. They're Victorian scientists that just pratter on and on and on about stuff, but the drama is like very grand sweeping and not necessarily really relatable drama, so I wasn't really getting into these characters. And I think it's these two flaws that serve to make the third flaw even worse. And that, of course, is the runtime. This movie, I think, is a little over 2.5 hours long, and boy, do you feel it. Like, I was watching through the movie, and I'm like, well, there's no way we're gonna do the section with the blind man in the cabin, because surely we don't have time for it. But no, we got time. This movie really does drag, and don't get me wrong, I get you're trying to do as much from the book as you can, but you really do feel the runtime. And I do wish it was cut down by like half an hour or so. Like, there's all this stuff right at the beginning with, like, young Victor and his childhood, and it's very standard cliche stuff of, oh, my mother died when I was really young and my father was too strict, and I think a lot of that section could be cut out because it's super easy to get what's happening, and we didn't really need to dwell on it. But as I said with the last two flaws, this movie not having super relatable characters and not really surprising me in any significant way didn't get me invested in it, because there are some movies that are super long, that are like 2+ hour movies, that you really don't feel the runtime because you're invested. But because this movie wasn't really doing anything new for me, I did feel the runtime. It really did weigh on me. And I couldn't help but thinking, the movie's divided basically into two sections, Victor's tale and the creature's tale, and this movie's long enough that I honestly feel they could have just chopped it into two, you know, made it like one of those classic 2-part miniseries, Frankenstein Part 1 Victor's tale and then Part 2 the creature's tale. If it was divided up, then we could say, okay, it's a 2-parter, it's supposed to be long, I can watch this on 2 separate nights. But no, you have to sit there the whole time. And again, I don't want to complain too much because in general I do think it is a really well acted, well crafted movie, and if you like Del Toro's signature style, those big sweeping gothic set pieces, again, the movie looks absolutely gorgeous, and as far as craftsmanship goes, it is, you know, obviously 10 out of 10, but I just wish the plot had did something a little bit more. Either give us a 100% accurate book representation, or change it up in a way that really surprises us. Make the characters more human and relatable, and gee, either chop it up into multiple parts, or you gotta cut it down, because I was really feeling the runtime with this one. Again, I don't want to say it's bad, I don't really want to give it a negative review. In general, I thought it was really good. I just kinda wish from a storytelling perspective it was more engaging and surprised me more. As it stands though, it's fun enough, I can definitely recommend it, but there are a few things you need to know going into it. Again, I feel like I complained a fair bit, and I do want to say I still liked it, but I wasn't in love with it, and there were a few things I wish they had changed. And I think I heard somewhere that Del Toro said he wanted to shake up his style after this. Like, a lot of the stuff he had made was building to this, and now that he's done it, he wants to shake things up. He kind of wants to reinvent himself. And honestly, that really has me excited. Here's hoping that whatever Del Toro does next comes out really good, because as I said, I do really like the guy. But anyway, all that being said, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2025 movies playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more movies that also came out this year, feel free to click right here and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.